Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Dugout Football channel, and also welcome to the Totally Levy and Horne Football podcast. Yes, you may be asking why we have got this on two channels. Well, all will be revealed, and I'm delighted to say that joining me every week is my co-host, Mr. Carl Edwards Levy. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much, Doug. Thank you very much for letting me join you and actually becoming to do this joint collaboration. Probably for the first time, actually, on our own separate channels. We've done before that. We used to be on together on one show for Sound Radio, and now we got our own channels. We're doing this joint together as a joint collaboration.
Absolutely, no, it's my absolute pleasure. How are you anyway? May I ask? Because obviously I know that Leeds are back in the top flight. So yeah, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward and quite excited for it for the new season. I think after the season before when Leeds did get back up first time of asking, there was questions of will Farker be there, and there was questions about Farker's future after he won the league. As long as at least the club are backing him on the stuff. But I think the mood is quite good actually. It's very good for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what is the 20? People may ask. Well, name exactly says what it says on the tin. It's basically discussing the Premier League. We thought over names and we thought right. Basically, the 20 would be a Premier League podcast. So yeah, it's called the 20. We're going to be speaking obviously about the Premier League all season. Um, and yeah, Carl, I think it's kind of a sort of a catchy name, I would say.
It is a very catchy name. Listen, it took me a lot of time to think about the name when you asked me, and I thought, you know what, because there's 20 teams in the Premier League, why would we just call it the 20? And it just made more sense actually, completely.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, every week we'll have a guest on. So it won't just be me and Carl. It'll be somebody else. Maybe one, maybe two guests every week. Also, hello to everyone on Twitch. I know I am on Twitch as well. So yeah, it's nice to be on there as well. So yeah, we haven't got a set day for it, so we don't know if it's going to be on a Monday or a Tuesday. But I think probably going forward, it probably will be a Monday. If there is a game on a Monday, I obviously Leeds play Everton next week, then it will be obviously on the Tuesday.
Yeah.
So we'll obviously decide that during the season ahead. But no, I'm excited for this, and I'm excited to sort of start like an actual Premier League podcast on here because obviously I have my Spotify one that I do every week as well. So no, it's just nice to have sort of a YouTube one. It's nice to have you basically have it on your channel as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about that. As I said, the channel has now grown over the last couple of weeks, and we got over 100 subscribers. We're now 107 subscribers. So I wanted to keep growing as well, and I'm putting a lot of the hard work into it than I did for the last 9 months or so. Then when this channel launched, my channel launched 4 years ago, so it is a bit of a time of change now. Trying to push it now to take it to the next level.
Absolutely. Let's say hello to a few people because there is a few people in here. Hello, Stephen. I am very well, my friend. Hope you are doing well. John Conway's in. Big up Douglas and Carl. Mrs. P on Twitch, hello. Modding Active, thank you very much, Mrs. P. I do appreciate that. Siobhan, hello, mate. Hope you are well. Hope you are good. It's nice to see you in here as well. And also, hello to Shane O'Donnell as well. And Stephen says he's doing good as well.
Good,
It's very,
good.
very good to see as well. So, tonight is a season preview. We have Yes, we've got four days now until all kicks off again. Yes, I'm excited for Friday, especially after yesterday. Congratulations to Crystal Palace. I better should say that. So yeah, we're going to speak about some topics tonight. We're obviously going to be discussing about the title race. We'll also be discussing the race for Europe. We'll also be discussing about UEFAGATE. I'm pretty livid at the decision. I'll get Carl's thoughts on that. We'll also talk about the promoted three. Can any of the three stay up? Because in the last two seasons, the three that have gone up have all gone down. So hopefully this is the time where it's broken, let's just say. We'll also get Carl's table predictions, which could be really, really interesting. And we'll also have a look at the week one Premier League fixtures as well. But let us begin. Let us begin. And it is the case of the title race. Can anyone stop Liverpool? Yes, Arne Slot comes into the Premier League last season. Nobody expected Liverpool to win the league, but came in, basically didn't change much. Only Federico Chiesa and Georgi Marmadashvili were signed. Obviously, Marmadashvili is obviously signed for this season. However, it has been all change at Liverpool because there have been so many signings that have been brought in, and every big club is spending money. Chelsea, Manchester City, Arsenal. But the real question, Carl, can anyone stop Arne Slot's Liverpool?
It's a good $1 million question, Doug. I think the way how things were last season when Slot came into Liverpool, we all thought Man City would have been expected to retain it, and somehow after winning 4 consecutive league titles, things the curse came to them after they won 4 titles when they broke the curse of teams winning 3 titles on the trot, and did not expect Liverpool to run with it. I thought Arsenal would have been the closest rivals, try to win the seat last season. But like I said, they didn't have no number 9 striker for them, and the injuries caught up to them, and they were playing more the dark arts of football. It surprised how Liverpool just got away when Liverpool only made one signing, which was Federico Chiesa, and somehow Slot got the best out of them with one signing. And even though Arsenal and Man City did spend a bit of money last season, but it wasn't enough for Liverpool to storm it over to win their 20th league title.
Mrs. P says I always expect them to win. Uh, well, I do know that Mr. P is a Liverpool supporter as well. So no, look, last season was fantastic. Really, really great season. Obviously, at the end, it kind of tailed off towards the end, but I think the title would have already been won really in the sort of the middle of April. Um, and yeah, nobody expect. I think no one kind of expected the drop off Manchester City had. Um, I think as well, people kind of expected sort of Arsenal, after what happened with, City having that poor run. I mean, Chelsea, to be fair, they came in right at the end. They had a real good goal. Obviously got top four. Do you think it's a four-horse race this season? Because obviously we look at Chelsea. Obviously won they won the Club World Cup, the FIFA Club World Cup, and also they did win the Conference League. And safe thing to say, they do look like they have a squad that could compete.
Sorry, yes, maybe it was on there. Yeah, they do have a squad to compete. Chelsea really do. I did not expect them. Especially they spent a lot of money. Last couple of seasons, but they're spending this money on the right players that need it, and they're doing it with profit. And I think Enzo Maresca was was unconvinced by some Chelsea fans when he took the job, but he stuck to what he's done, and he got them to the into the Champions League spot, and then winning with two trophies in his first season, which is tremendous actually, because in the Europa League he played majority of his young squad actually, and a bit just second team string as well in some cases, but like I said, they look tremendous at the Club World Cup, and it just showed they're getting the right kind of players that's fitted to the mold. And I think this time when he asked the question last season, he wasn't in the title race, and I don't think it was. I think this time they are for the first time properly with this kind of squad they've got, and I think they're signing some really good players. Liam Delap, I think is going to be the missing link that Chelsea have missed completely. I think that is vital. And you know, who else have they signed? You know, they're going to try close to getting Garnacho. That might be happening as well. So you know, it's looking good for Chelsea if they can get the right players and start well this season.
Yeah, Chelsea are looking good. I mean, some of the signings I look at obviously Jared Pedro. For me, he's going to be.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a cracking signing. He's really hit the. He's really started really well at Chelsea. I look at also Hato as centre back. I think he's going to be a really good signing, especially with what's happened to Levi Colwell as well.
yeah.
He's out for the rest of the season with an ACL. Um, but one question that kind of been going through my head all day, with obviously the Club World Cup, I mean, with obviously Manchester City and Chelsea, do you think it could come back to bite them, especially, them being sort of playing in sort of mid-July, didn't really have much of a break. I know that obviously they had a bit of a pre-season, but do you think that that could potentially come back to bite them?
It could go either way. Actually, I think they'll have to look at this. I think they're getting competitive. You know, start a bit competitive. So at least they're getting
Hmm.
the match fit, the match fitness already. But it could go the other way as well. You know, I think you look at what the Scottish Premiership is when teams are not in Europe, they're playing the Scottish League Cup to get that competitiveness in. And I think this is what
Yeah,
Chelsea had to do at Man City. But like I said, because with Man City not having Rodri out for till September, so it's a question of, the players that are coming like Jamie Gittins, Estavo, who's joined as well, Mamadou Sarr, who's, well, I know he looks like, because I think he's gone back out loan as well. But like I said, it's a question if they can get, if the players are fit enough now to get the max experience already, get that, to get the injuries running. I think they should be okay. I wouldn't worry about that too much. But like I say, if they can manage the squad properly the first couple of weeks of games and stuff, I think they'll be all right as long as they don't get any any more injuries like what happened to Levi Colwell, who's out for the rest of the season.
yeah, 100%. Manchester City. Last season was a season to forget for City. I think it's the safest thing to say. I think Pep gets money in the bank because, especially, I think people are kind of accepting that they were probably due a poor season, and I think having an injury to Rodri, like it happened, it was completely unprecedented. I don't think anyone expected Rodri to be out for that long. But this season, again, they've spent some very good money, and I've got to say, some of the signings they have made make you really, really think they could go for it again. The likes of obviously Eight Nuri, I think that's a cracking signing at left back. They've obviously got Reinders from AC Milan. They've also got Turkey as well. But interestingly enough, some of the outgoings that could be happening very, very soon. Jack Grealish is going to Everton, which is quite
Yeah,
interesting. Also, Savinho to Tottenham. I've got to be honest. When I was basically going, I was basically sitting. I was sitting right here. I was basically, looking at my phone and thinking, right, nothing's going to happen. Before I went to bed, this big news story from Fabrizio Romano comes out. Basically, basically Savinho to Tottenham. I was like, eh, like that. It just broke from nowhere.
yeah,
It
it did.
completely broke from absolutely nowhere. So, is there a feeling that City are not finished in the transfer window? Because for me, I think if obviously Grealish goes to Everton and if Savinho goes to Tottenham, then I think they're definitely a winger short for me.
Yeah, they are, and there's a reason for that. So this story is not been go it's been on and off since last year, and they have been linked with a move for Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I think that's what the issue is. I think why Pep was a bit frustrated with Grealish not, being not more what the play to his style now than to adapt. I think Rodrigo's been linked with a move to the Etihad, and like I said, it wouldn't be surprised if Man City do go for him before the end of the window close. I think it's it's like I said, Sevilla's only been in here for a year. I thought he would have stayed for another season or two, but I'm very surprised that they have, that Spurs will literally for around £50 million. I think Grealish needs game time if he needs to get to the World Cup next summer in North America. So this is vital for his playing career as well. So for that matter, yeah, I think City are not finishing the transfer market. I would be surprised to go for Rodrigo from Real Madrid, which has been heavily linked for the last 6 to 8 months or so now. I think this is not surprising stories come back up again, and I think it will definitely happen and make a chance because I don't think Rodrigo with where he is, I don't think he's going to get into that Madrid team at the moment.
I can't see it. I can't see him getting into the Madrid side either. But will Marmoush be like a new signing? Comes in January. For me, I think he was probably City's best player throughout that sort of that half bit
Yeah,
in the season. I just
yeah,
look at Marmoush and I just think he's going to be fantastic this season. I really do.
I think they are. I think he's going to be like a new signing, and especially he scored 7 goals last season. When he came in from January, I think he's going to be like a new signing completely. And I think the players are coming back, such as Oscar Bob, who they miss so much in that who could play in the wing in the wider area. I think you have to, like I said, Man City do need to reduce their squad size, but I think they're doing it the right way. What they need to do, I think deep down, it's actually where enough if this is going to be enough to get someone like Rodrigo in, to try to be in the attacking midfield to replace Grealish and Savinho, which is interesting because Chekiri is going to be more better. I think very, is he going to be, still be there at the end of the transfer window or go on loan? So I think what Man City are trying to do, because we know that this is going to be probably the last season of Bernardo Silva. I think this is and Ikra Gundu, and I think they will be moved on. I think after the end of the season, this season, and I think that's when we'll see the more transition now with City are really, spending players like big players on getting the players that they brought in to try to keep the squad useful, a little bit youthful, but still experienced.
Yeah, 100%. Luca, hello, Luca. Hope you're well, mate. You okay? I think Liverpool going to run away with it again. I'm not so sure it's going to be that comfortable this time around. Red Devil United, Rich. Hello, mate. Like the thumbnail, thank you very much. Designed by our very good friend Nathan, of course. Cowstab Pengali, I think I pronounced that right. KTBFFH. I believe you're a Chelsea fan. Yeah, good luck for this season, for sure. Oh, he's asked a very good question. Will Estavio start first the game week? I've got to say, I watched a bit of Chelsea the other night there. Estavio looks a player. I
He does.
mean, I know people will probably look at Chelsea and look at the sort of the really, really sort of heavy squad, but they do have a really good squad about them, I think. And Estavio looks a really, really good prospect.
He does. He certainly does, and no wonder he was linked to a lot of clubs. A lot of clubs the past year, last year before Chelsea signed him. Last summer, to bring him in, and like I say, looked really good against Bayer Leverkusen when he scored his first goal for Chelsea. Like I said, it's been heavily compared to Messi and Neymar, which is going to be interesting. But
Mm,
as I said, his maturity is there. His maturity is there, and he's
yeah.
reading up the game at that age is quite significant. Is quite really good, significant. Especially he's had 62 league appearances for Palmeiras. So I think this is going
Mm.
to be. I think he's going to be probably in contention for young player of the season if he does start well.
Big talk that. I think that move to Tottenham is ballsy, says Mrs. P. I agree. Etienne LMR. Turkey hasn't fulfilled any promise in French football ever. Thinking he can do well in the Premier League is a stretch of the imagination. Well, we'll obviously wait and see. Big up, man. Says Luca. Siobhan says, I think Man City's been overlooked on the title. Like they have made some good signings this summer. Yeah, I think they have as well. I think they have as well. As well. So, spoken about Man City, we've spoken about Chelsea. Arsenal, is this the season they finally do it? Well, signings they made. Kepa. Christian Norgard, Christian Mosquera. They finally got their striker, Victor Gyokores. It was a long sort of interesting to and froing. Will it be Benjamin Sesko? Would it have been Victor Gyokores? But eventually, Carl, they settled on Victor Gyokores, Madueke as well. What have you made of Arsenal's transfer business? Because if I'm being honest, I think the transfer business that they're doing, I can kind of understand, but Zubimendi obviously is another one as well. But out of the signings I think they've made, only for me, Zubimendi and Gyökeres are their starters. I think the rest are probably backups, to be fair.
I think so as well. I think Gyokores was probably the right fit, especially what Arsenal needed, and especially with with how his goals returned. And listen, he was unknown at Brighton. Look where he is now. And I thought Sesko could have been, but it was probably right. But maybe the age and the experience. He's not experienced enough like your Chris has done in England. You know when he did score a lot of goals for
Yeah.
commentary, and then we went big at Sporting. I think they got good value for him for his fee. So I think they've done the right move to get him. To be the number 14 now that he's going to be that number 40 shirt on the Terry Henry, I think he's gonna be probably if he gets started, gets his first goal the first couple of games. I wouldn't be surprised he'll be the top. He'll be one of the people to be chatted for top goal scorer.
Mm. Yeah, we'll come we'll come to those at the end. I think yeah, we'll do Golden Boot, we'll do Player of the Season, we'll do Young Player of the Season. We'll also do first manager to be sacked, which I think is going to be interesting.
Mm.
So yeah, we'll get to those very shortly. But yeah, are you convinced Yorkeres is the answer?
I think there is because Martinelli and Jesus are not the proper strikers. They're more better on the wing. And I think that's what, when they tried Havertz as a false nine and stuff, Mikel Marino, they need an out striker who get those 3 points every game as a winnable game, to make it could be the huge points difference with his goals to win the games. I think Gyökeres is the right fit that they needed at that age, and I think vice versa. Listen, he scoring 68 goals in 66 league appearances, but in total, you're looking at what he's done. He scored 54 goals in 52 games in all competitions last season. And then
Yeah,
that's 97, 102 the last 2 seasons he's had. It does return the figure if it can prove that. I think it's going to take time for him to settle in, which is guaranteeable. But
yeah,
I think he will get goals.
yeah, absolutely. Let me go back into the chat because there's been comments. Hi, Lucas and Rich. How are you? Luca, we'll get to Premier League predictions right at the end of the show, my friend. We're going to do that later on as well. I'm going 2-2. Well, he's given his early prediction. United Central, hello, hello, hello. I am not doing too badly, my friend. I hope you are good as well. Hope you're good as well. Shaban says Gyökeres will score around 15 goals. It will take time for him to settle in. I will ask this, Carl. Arteta, does he need to deliver one of the big ones this season?
He does. He certainly does need to deliver the season. If when you're not won a trophy since won the FA Cup back in 2020, he has to deliver. There's no buts to that. If you spent nearly 75, nearly 8 million euros for Gyökeres, you have to deliver big now. There's no matter what. And I think, like I said, they need to stop relying and not be dependent on Saka because of his injury. And then at least I got Madueke as a dependent cover. They have to prove that this season with the signings they've made that they can get closer to the race. With how they dropped off last season, it was
Yeah,
not good enough. And like I said, they have to win something this season, and regardless of a domestic competition or the Champions League, they have to win something. If they don't, I think that there's questions about his future at the end of coming in next May.
yeah. I'm just not convinced. I've always said this about Arteta. He is always the what's the term we used last season? Always the bride, never the bridesmaid. Um, so it's one thing saying that, but look, I think Arteta needs to deliver it then at some point.
Yeah.
But I just can't see it. I just cannot see it this season. Um, I just think some of the signings they made are a bit questionable. Madueke, I just don't get that. Just do not get that. As long as Arsenal doesn't get somebody on the left wing, it's always the same problem, depending on Saka or Martinelli doesn't bring anything. There's thought that Martinelli actually could be on the move.
Well,
I've
it's not.
read
I think it's
today.
more Tross. It's been more Leonardo Trossard has been more linked with the move than Martinelli at the moment.
Mm,
Especially, I think Trossard is in his last. Both Martinelli and Trossard in the last 2 years of their deal. They got both of them got an option to extend for another year. So I think
yeah.
there's questions, especially like Reece Nelson is in the same situation as well. So yeah, there's a lot of things that Arteta needs to do. If he does get rid of
Mm.
Trossard, they're gonna have to bring another wide man up front.
Arteta as a fraud, he isn't going to win that all this season. To be honest, I just don't rate as a manager. I just don't. And I'm very surprised he's still at Arsenal. Hasn't got the bottle to get over the line. I like that. I like that. He'll probably blame the ball again like last season. Embarrassing. Yeah. Full of excuses, I think is the safest thing to say.
Mm,
But yeah, so that's the title race. That is the title race. We fully expect, yeah, a four-horse race potentially. But as I said, we will get to Mr. Edwards Levy's predictions later on in the show. Right, we will go now for the race for Europe because last season, obviously, it was a top five. I don't know if it's going to be the same. I don't know if that's been confirmed or anything like that. Um, And obviously, we will get to UEFAGATE because that is coming up very very soon. But the race for Europe now, I know there's a few Manchester United fans in here, so I think we'll start with them.
yeah,
What have you made of the transfer business this summer? And obviously, Cunha's in and Burmo's in. Those two took forever to come in the door. I
yeah,
think people need to remember that. Sesko, look, he's young, he's raw, he's 22. People were saying the same about Hoyland, and look what's happened to him. It looks like he's going to be out the door. I still think they need a goalkeeper. I do not rate any of their goalkeepers. I don't see Tom Heaton starting against Arsenal. I just can't see that. Onana says he potentially could be ready for the game against Arsenal, and then Bayindir, who I think look, I know he wants to be sort of Turkish number one and all this, but unfortunately, again, just looks to be a bit what's the word? A bit raw, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's just what have you made of their summer so far?
It's listen. I know. I felt like Amorim wanted to do a lot of changes, particularly up front. Bringing Mateus Cunha, who's was good for Wolves, and he had this issue of he wanted to for his choice apart, he wanted to leave, then to sign a new contract, and then he decided to he knew he was gonna leave anyway, despite signing a new contract. And Bremo, I think he deserves a big move, especially his goals last season for Brentford was vital. I think Sesko, like I said, coming in he's raw, but he's talent. He's got talent, and that's the good thing about it. It's the question is the players that are still there that don't want to be there, such as Jadon Sancho. Rasmus Højlund is being linked to move away. Who else as well? And now you got Nacho as well. There's a lot of things that Man United need to do, and even Anthony as well. So the question is, they have to get those players out the doors anyway. But I think the goalkeeper situation is going to be the talking point. And I have been hearing this the last couple hours, even before the head of tomorrow's of the Super Cup, the UEFA Super Cup late this week, that Junior Donnarumma is not in the squad. in the matchday squad because of Lucas Cheria did sign from Leo. His days are numbered now, Donnarumma, and he's been linked to another Premier League clubs, and that includes Manchester United as well. So I think we might see something. We might see this bubbling up in the next couple weeks or so before the deadline date on the second. I think it's the first or second of September. So I think now I think that goalkeeper now is on the list priority now because Donnarumma's future is now being questioned. Which after it's now changed. It's now all changed completely.
Yeah, I mean, if Man United were to get Donnarumma, then that would be a huge signing because they do say that a really good goalkeeper and a really good defense, wins you the league. Um, I think as well, they've been linked with Carlos Belieber. Are you a believer? Sorry, that was bad. Um, I think if they get him, I think United would be looking to at least be anywhere between fifth and seventh. I don't know if they're quite there yet to sort
No,
of, challenge your Chelsea, challenge your Cities, challenge your Arsenal, and challenge obviously Liverpool. But were they to get a good goalkeeper, were they to get a good midfielder, then you would kind of reconsider your sort of prediction for Manchester United. Like I think the thing is Ruben Amorim really needs a good season for me. I don't think there's any excuses. They have to have a much better season because last season was an absolute disgrace, finishing 15th. Um, Obviously Tottenham did obviously win the Europa League, um, but Man United having a trophyless season and having their worst ever finish as well. They're. Do you think they're ready for this season? Because I look at their sort of their fixtures coming like Arsenal at home. I mean that is going to be that's some way to start the season. Um,
mhm.
and we all know sort of Arsenal struggles at Old Trafford in the past, um, as well. But I look at that Manchester United side now. They've obviously got Cunha. Now they've got Mbermo. Now they've got Sesko. They've got Fernandez. They've got Ahmad. There's still Casemiro. Dorgu. There's question marks still with him, I think, as well. Where do you think United need to strengthen for the rest of the window? For me, goalkeeper, 100%. I see that United Central is in the chat there saying a central midfielder. That could be potentially Belieber. But
Yeah.
were they not to get that goalkeeper and that central midfielder, do you think they're ready?
I don't think they are, and it's still miles behind Liverpool, City, Chelsea, and even Arsenal as well. And I think they're still miles behind, no matter what. I think the problem is it has to fit in Amrin's system. That's the question mark. You gotta keep players like Mason Mount fit because we know he's had his injury the last couple of seasons. You got to keep it fit, and Diallo as well too. I think Lenny or your he's got to he's coming into this proper first full season after his injury he had at the start of last season. So there's a question:
Yeah.
is that needs it? Listen, Amarin could have had time, to come into the seat in the summer, but because he came in last November, December, he's had to have half a season under his belt. And I think, if they won the Europa League, I think everyone would have not questioned him as much. But because of the way they finished in down in 15th place, you do think about yourselves, how has Man United got the slot? And they need to be better this season. I think they're still miles behind in a way, and it's going to take them more than just free transfer windows to get to try to compete again. And I don't think they will be competing this season in that top four. No, I know how, but if they need to get if they listen, they got no European competition. They need to focus on that, and also trying to win the domestic trophy as well. But they need to try to get back into Europe, and that is vital for them. And even saying that as a Leeds fan, I don't want to anywhere near to get back to Europe, but I say that as a neutral
Yeah.
perspective, they have to. They need, the fans are now on needs things to be delivered now. No more pissing about now after what I've heard with
Yeah.
everything. No negativity in the press. Deal now. Get your shit together and sort this out.
Yeah, and as United Central says there, we only play one game a week, which will help us in the league. 100%. 100%. I think the one thing as well, you know, they'll probably have a squad to challenge on like FA Cup, League Cup, and then obviously the league as well. So yeah, the fact that they've not got any European football, I think will really help them. And I think as well it's going to be really, really interesting to say the very, very least. Um, let's go up a few. Let's see. Onana by India is utter garbage. I'd rather Tom Heaton in goal at this point. Definitely the goalkeeper, another central midfielder. And Burmo and Cunha will be class, but Sesko I have my questions about. I'd have gone for Watkins, to be honest. They were linked with Watkins actually. They were linked with
Yeah,
Watkins. So Scotty99, hello mate, hope you're well. Lennon Miller off to Udinese for a medical 4.5 plus add-ons. That's a good deal for Muller, I've got to say.
it
That's a very,
is.
very good
Yeah,
deal. Sorry, my finger slipped there. Leaving it until the last minute in signings is typical. United should have had this sorted already. Shivan doesn't read Donnarumma. I'm very surprised at that, actually.
I think he's more better
Yeah.
than Onana. Who else do you expect to get? You know?
Mm, exactly. I know they were linked with obviously Emi Martinez, but
Yeah,
I couldn't see that happening.
no,
We know where Miles is never going to be one. Yeah, 100%. That problem, Man United is one of the players suit the manager system. Will he last the season? Only time will tell. Well, listen, if they get a goalkeeper, if they get a central midfielder, I think they will. They will do well. I think they will. They will do well. Yeah, he's better than Anana for sure. He's a solid player. I'm not saying he is not bad, but he does have a tendency to be error prone as well. So that's Manchester United. Now let's talk about a club who has not had a very good window.
mm,
What do you want to call them? Rejected FC, or what
pretty
we just call them
much.
Newcastle. What on earth is happening there? Rejected for Mbermo, rejected for Sesko. Who else? Joe Pedro
Yeah,
rejected
wow.
them. Honestly, Trafford as well. It honestly has been a really poor window for Newcastle. It really, really has. And there is obviously the big question is Alexander Isak. Now, do you see Alexander Isak being involved this weekend against Aston Villa? Because if I'm being honest,
No,
I don't think he is involved for any Newcastle game anytime soon.
no, he's despite what Keith Down has said, they're not gonna. He's being expected to remain at St James's Park. I just don't see it happen. I just can't see him play any games. I think it's gone beyond repairable now with the relationship between the fans and Isaac. I think what's going on behind the scenes when you don't have Amanda Staveley in that board calling the shots and making the right decision, that's causing so much issue. Paul Mitchell didn't work out with Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe wanted the full of the transfer. Paul said what he wanted to do, and it's not worked out well for them. And I think if the PSI is becoming an issue as well for them as well too, which I've been hearing in the last couple of days as well. I just think this is a huge concern for Newcastle. Especially finishing in the top 5 last season to get into the final Champions League spot was so vital because they thought it could make the club go better. But it still feels like stepping stones. Like, is the Saudis prioritizing more their own Saudi clubs when they bought Darren Nunes from you guys than Newcastle down on the list? There's a lot of questions going on there, and I think Isak, he did say something to Sky Sports earlier this year that the best stage he would like to go to out to he visits so much is actually Anfield. And does that not surprise me why he wants to go to Liverpool? Because he feels like now the club has broken his promises when, Guimaraes and Tonali, they've like I said at the moment, everyone thought Guimaraes was going to link with Man City last season. He decided to stay. And Isak is the one who's like, you know what? Because he tried to do well at a big club at Borussia Dortmund and didn't go well that first time, and he went to go to Real Sociedad to read. He was still a raw striker, but I think Eddie Howe has put himself in the situation that he was at Bournemouth once when he took over the transfer policy side of things. There's a reason why Bournemouth got relegated in that COVID season completely, mate. And I think this is now the come again. He likes the power, without Amanda Stavely, who was one who actually said, "Get me Anthony Gordon," and look what they did to get Anthony Gordon. And since the
Yeah,
her influence are not there anymore, they have so struggled so much because of the boardroom. There's no sporting director. There's no transfer committee, nothing at all. And I think this is the club's is in a way is it's been issues. Not just that, also the future of the stadium of building a new stadium. You know, not probably not going to get a new training ground because they're redeveloping the training ground next to the East Coast Main Line. These things are a long term project, but Newcastle are so limited to what they could do. And I thought,
yeah,
when you don't get like Jao Pedro, Liam Delap, James Trafford, even Ugo Itike, it just says it all complete when you've only made one big sign, which is Antti Elanga. I think it was £53 million. It's a lot of money for Newcastle. Say they
yeah,
need to go overboard with it. But like I said, it's a question of Newcastle needs strikers because when you lose Isak, who else is gone? Who else? And I know they're trying to get Wissa from Brentford, but that transfer situation, they need two strikers, Newcastle, completely to replace Isak if he does go.
yeah. I mean, there's been talk about Vissa. Vissa's been obviously talked about. Nicholas Jackson, but that's kind of going a little bit quiet. They are getting Malik Tell
Yeah,
from AC Milan, which I think is a good signing. Don't get me wrong, I do think it's a very good signing, but I do think as strikers they need really as well.
they were linked with one of the Porto players who's it was Samuel Angon Warrior, and he looks a good player, but I can't see. I don't think Porto have taken him off say he's not going anywhere. So
It does feel like it's going to be a really interesting end to the window for Newcastle, but I think, I mean, my gut feeling is that I would say that they get at least one striker, but I mean, Vissa does sound like it's going to potentially happen.
yeah.
He wants to obviously join Newcastle, um, but it's just another case as well. Muniz is as well. Michael, thank you very much. That was another
Yeah,
one that's
he's been
been.
one of the links as well, not to just to us as well, also Newcastle. So even El Canusi's now been linked to move to Newcastle. So it's like
Yeah,
Newcastle's policy at the moment is just all over the place. There's no structure. When you put Dan Ashworth on garden leave, I don't think you need to let him go to United. You could have just I just thought they would have resolved that issue of finding someone else, and the Paul Mitchell didn't work out because he wanted to be back close to Manchester. So it's a huge mess. I think with what's going on, there's rumors that Kieran Trippier has been linked with a move to Monaco as that's been happening. He's in his last year
yeah,
of
I've
the
seen
contract,
that as
so
well. Yeah, yeah. Look, I think Newcastle have got a very very big end of the window coming up. So we'll talk about obviously the other teams that are sort of in sort of European action. As I said, we've all come to obviously Crystal Palace Forest because I do that. There's a wee sort of segment onto that anyway. Um, Aston Villa, obviously Europa League. They have got the manager for it. Do you think the biggest plus this summer for them though is keeping a hold of Ollie Watkins and Emmy Martinez?
yeah, it's huge. It's very huge actually because you know Villa have had to decide to let the players go because of the situation because they might have to leave players go because of the PSI situation when they missed out on the top in the Champions League. Listen, I have to say at the moment they've done they signed Ivan Gussard from Nice, who I think will be interesting enough, because he did score only. I think he scored 19 last season. He only scored like 13 goals last season in all competitions. Actually, so will he be proven enough to do well in the Premier League? Time will tell. But like I said, Villa have already made they've signed Marco Bissett from Brest, Simco Redmond from Feyenoord, and Yasin Oscar from Casakampa from the Turkish league. So it's a question.
Yeah,
I think Villa's situation at the moment, because of the financial fair play, they don't want to sell their key players, but somehow you have to make a difference to sell, because I'm just looking at the squad at the moment. Is it good enough? Because just see, I just question, if Martinez was going to go, then there would be a situation where if they keep them both to try to get for one more season, that's good. But I just think at the moment, Villa, paid, should have had the final spot the Champions League played, and I don't think they would. I don't think they would have been in this situation as they are right now. If they, but they have got the manager that will do well in the Conference League, who's the king of the Conference League of the Europa League. Sorry, he's the king of the Europa League, and I
yeah.
think he will prioritize on that to try to get to the Champions League if they, So yeah,
All change at Tottenham. Thomas Frank has obviously now gone in there. Um, did you feel sorry for Ange Postecoglou?
it's a bit of a heckle, jive and heckle, heckle and jive, and Jekyll and Hyde. To be honest with you, yes, I did in ways, but he actually paid the price of the way how he handled himself in front of the media and behind the scenes. That was the questionable problem. Yes, he did win the trophy, in fact, in the second season, but because I think with everything was going on, you know, something had to change. Something had to change, and I think Spurs needed to do something. And listen, we was questioned who we were get, and I think Thomas Frank was on the first name on that list. Who actually has done quite well, exceeded so much expectations at Brentford completely. And I think
Yeah,
looking at now the players that he's brought in, Mateus Tel signing a permit deal, Kevin Danso as well, getting Luka Vazikits from Hadget Splits as well. I think Mohamed Kudus is a good signing as well, which they needed to do. So listen, it's a big, and getting João Paulinho from Bayern Munich with the option to buy on loan, option to buy is a good deal. So I think they have.
huge.
I think under here, I think they'll have a good season. It's a shame, with Son now gone to LAFC, and also the big sad is that James Madison is out again with the big huge ACL injury. That's going to be few, but he's England prospects as well. But I think Thomas Frank will do well at Spurs this season. I think he'll get the right type of players that he's done to fit have his style of play. And like I said, I think they're going to be probably getting closer to the top to the top 4 or 5, depending on the season. But I think now they have a bit of a bit more better. But he's trying to make a better balanced squad, which is good because I think Spurs was imbalanced the last couple of seasons under Ange.
Yeah, hello Stu as well. Question: why does nobody raise the link to Rice's arrival to the death of Martinelli? Xhaka had him facilitating Martinelli until he left. A little passing range or finesse from a pass from Rice. That's a very good point, actually.
Mm.
Um, Siobhan saying this should sign Colomiani. I think this is about
Newcastle.
Newcastle. Now, if they're the proper DM, say Baliba and Zubimendi as a right 8 and Odegaard to the left, you'd have 2 players to link both flanks. Yep, absolutely. Vista and Muniz have been for Newcastle. But Newcastle only took Trippier, Botman, Gumares, and Isaac to crack top 4 from being basement side. Do you not think they're doing a little one? Yeah, possibly. They
I
possibly
think
are.
that they
They
will have
possibly are.
to. I think they will have to.
Mm-hmm. Vista's going through the same situation at Brentford as Isaac at Newcastle, having a trainer on their own away from the squad. Yeah, and Siobhan says, I think Thomas Frank will do well at Spurs. I think he will do very, very well. In terms of sort of other teams that we can sort of link to Europe, the one name that's really coming to my head is Brighton. Now, last season, Fabian Hersler was, I think, a very interesting choice. Youngest manager, I think, from the German Bundesliga
Yeah.
or German second Bundesliga. Comes in, and actually, I think Brighton had a pretty good end to the season. Finished ninth. Um, could they potentially be a bit of a dark horse for the European positions?
It's a good question, actually. I maybe would think so, and probably in the for in the lower stages, probably the Conference League is more their maximum outgoes. If they do well again like they did towards the end of last season, I think they have a very very good chance with that one. I think, I know Matt O'Reilly's look like he's going to Juventus. That deal is going to happen probably soon
Yeah,
as well. But I think what Brighton have done, with the transfer window this summer, to quite honest with you, and as I'm just bringing it up right now, actually, I think they've done, to get the money from Chelsea to sell João Pedro, and also Valty Barco's gone to Strasbourg for over £10 million, getting 21
yeah,
plus £1 million for Saman Dinga, Pervis Estepan, going to AC Milan. But they have done some good signing Maxim De Cooper, even the big move, which was Babis Constant loss from Olympiacos, which is a huge deal for a
yes.
19-year-old. And also, I think getting Tom Watson for Son as well. But I think don't be surprised that Brighton will do more, maybe a couple more signings if they do let Matt O'Reilly go. And like I said, I think they will be thereabouts again this season. I know they missed out on it, but as the good thing, they've always been backed by the good owner like Tony Bloom. I think they'll be interested enough. They got some okay, some tough games, especially the third game of the season. They got Man City at home and then Spurs on the 20th of September, then go away to Chelsea the following week on the 27th. So it's that period of it's good. I think around the Christmas period might be the toughest part, but if they can do one, get the points that they need, I think that they will. They ain't a decent shout. They really are.
And also shout out to James Milner, because obviously I forgot to mention at the top of the show. Obviously, when we were talking about Liverpool, obviously Diogo Jota sadly died in a car accident in Spain. He is going to be wearing Diogo Jota's number 20.
Yeah,
He's changed his number from number 6 to number 20. So I think that's a fantastic tribute to Diogo Jota as well.
yeah,
Is
no,
there any other teams? Sorry, sorry.
yeah, no. I think that's a good tribute, and James Milner is one of those at least, and he's always been, and I think he, to do that in Mario Deja is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we will get on to UEFA Gate very, very shortly. Bournemouth. I've got a really horrible feeling they might struggle this season. They've lost almost the entire back line. I was obviously doing a thing for the boys up the Cherries and Old Apartments. Did a wee sort of preview with them, and I think the safest thing for me to say about Bournemouth is that yes, they've still got good players. They've got really really good players. Justin Cliver, Semenyo, who I think signing a new contract is absolutely massive. They could be losing Watara, but I think it's more the back line that they've lost. They've lost Kepa, they've lost Mark Travers, they've lost Kirkes, they've lost Huijsen, they've lost Barney. So, that's three out of the back four that they've lost. They've also got in Truffert as well. Do you worry for Bournemouth? I mean, I think there will be a bit of a drop off for them, but I don't think it will be sort of too much that they'll sort of get dragged into sort of any sort of relegation battle. Because for me, Areola did a magnificent job last season.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I don't think there'll be a huge drop off. Yeah, there'll be some of the players will have a bit of a slow start. I think they'll do okay. I think they'll do all right. I think if the signing of of bringing of Zabani's replacement Bafonde Decate, just finding his move from Leo. So I think it's some good. I think it's a good deal. I wouldn't worry about them too much. Like I said, I think they'll be all right. They got Michael Sensei, Ario as well, Ario as well. So I think they'll be all right. I know, Quatara has been linked to, but I think that it's not too bad. I think, you know, listen, Brentford have to pay a lot of money if they have to get, Quatara. That's gonna be
Yeah,
interesting. But I think it will be all right. I think Promise will be all right with the players that they do buy, and they do buy quite well. So I wouldn't buy, and I think buying Petrovic, is I think he'll be a good goalkeeper. I think he needs a lot of game time, and I think he fits a Bournemouth style of that squad that they definitely need. I wouldn't worry about it too much at all, actually.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Right, let's get to it. Um, I want your views on this. Crystal Palace will be playing in the Conference League, and Nottingham Forest will be playing in the Europa League. Now, cut a long story short, basically this is about sort of dual ownership. John Textor was obviously had a bit of an ownership in Crystal Palace. He's obviously had a bit of ownership in Lyon. He left Crystal Palace. Still think he is at Lyon. And then all of a sudden, UEFA decide, oh, there's going to be an investigation into obviously dual ownership, which for me is laughable, Carl. It's absolutely laughable because you had teams like Manchester City and Girona being owned by the same group. They played in the Champions League last season. Um, what have you made of this? I mean, for me, and I'll say this again, it's not a good look on UEFA.
No, it's not a good look on the UEFA, especially like you just mentioned, those two clubs, Man City and Girona, last season. They had to make a restructure and all that stuff. And the same thing happened a couple of seasons ago, when RB Leipzig and RB Salzburg not only had the same ownership, but they were in the same group stage in the Europa League. So how could that could be that fair when John Textor does have no any influence at Crystal Palace completely. And like I said, he sold his shares off to Woody Johnson, who is the New York Jets owner and the former ambassador to the UK for the US. Listen, it's a huge mess at the moment, and I think you can't have two ways, especially when Man City have been dealing with like a big club like Man City, and somehow Man City have got more of the power. It's a mess. It's a mess. Listen, UEFA, you know, the rules is you're supposed to let them know by March the 1st. But hang on a second, Nottingham Forest actual owner decided to put the club in the buy trust after the 1st of April. So how can that be two ways about that?
Mm,
Listen, it's a joke how UEFA runs the system and not letting someone because like I said, Palace, had a chance of being the UEFA Cup, UEFA Cup, but due to what happened with the High State disaster, this was their first time being in Europe properly, going into the Europa League and making a name for
yeah.
themselves. And now they have to go play in the Conference League. No disrespect, the Conference League is more for the other minor clubs than the big clubs like Palace is in the Premier League compared to the other clubs. So I think that it's a huge mess. And listen, I know some Forest fans are not happy with some Palace fans and the other side as well. But to quite honestly, but like I said, some North fans will say rules are rules. But like I said, North fans did break a couple of rules to stay in the Premier League. And look where they are now. But I'm just surprised how UEFA has made this decision to not see that John Textor does have no influence because he sold his shares. He didn't even have a seat on the board at Palace as well. So he did have a
No.
say in it at all. But I just think it's a joke for how UEFA is, and I think it's going to look. I think there's some needs to be changes on that one going forward because how can you let teams like Man City, Girona in when they're under the same multi club ownership completely when when actually Palace and Leon have got no links between them, no links at all. So it's a joke. I really do, and I think something need. As I said, the rules have to change. I think UEFA cannot have loopholes like for big teams, and the team like Crystal Palace doesn't. So something has to change completely.
Sorry, my little son just came into the room, so that's why I had to put my camera and my mic off. But no, yeah, I absolutely agree with what you were saying. I think Crystal Palace are going to have another good season. I think they're now a team where they're very, very established of having,
Oh, it's the joys of being a father. This is what happens now when the child grows up. I'm not gonna lie to you. So yeah.
yes, he's he's going to bed. He's going to bed. So yeah, he's finding a bit of a game to play anyway. But no, what I was saying, I think
No,
I
that
think
feeling.
Palace will have a good season. Um, because I think of the way that they've been playing as well, and you look at the players they've kept: Eze, Mateta, Wharton at the moment. Question marks over Mark Leahy. I'll be honest, there is still a
Mm,
bit of question marks over him. I think Steve Parish came out and said that they'll sell him for a good price, or for an acceptable price. I think he said
yeah,
as well. Um, but it's just sad. It's just sad.
it's it,
Um,
it's sad. It's sad. It's sad.
I thought.
Be the father is so much. It's like, yeah.
Okay,
This is what you have
you
to
can't.
deal with, Doug. Now, with your, you decided to become a dad. I just become. I'm just an uncle. I'm having to be an uncle for your son and my own lot, my own 4 nieces and nephews back up in Huddersfield. So I can't. I think I'm on better than being a father to deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, as Michael says here, Carl, Crystal Palace may have the last laugh as the Europe Conference League is the easier competition to win compared to the Europa League. I 100% agree. You look at the
He's
teams that
right.
Chelsea had to play. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
he's
look at the team
right.
Chelsea had to play like last season, and they won it pretty
Yeah.
comfortably.
Yeah, he's right. He's right though, and that's a good point. I think what Palace will do, I think they will get compensation from UEFA in the league options now going forward of how much the damage, especially the windfall for the Europa League is so much times bigger than the Conference League. I think they'll get enough money. It's just with the Palace the situation. Gray, in his last year in the contract. AJ's still linked to a move to Spurs or Arsenal if that happens. And I think
Yeah,
Palace have been the lowest spenders in the Premier in the summer window because they only spent like £3 million on getting Bonasusa from Ajax as well. So I
yeah,
think I think they do want to invest as well because listen, you know how they finished last season was quality, and win the FA Cup
yeah.
and also the creature. I think they will. I think now because they're in the Conference League, I think they like what Mike said. They maybe you might be right. I think they will power through if they get to the final. I think they'll power through to say to put the things up to you, took things up to UEFA. Said this is what he cost us. If you do this again next season, we know what we're preparing.
Mm. Yeah, 100%. Shaban also says that just on the subject of Bournemouth, he says that they are very good attackers. So I think that is very, very good. Evening, Manny. Nice to see you in the chat, my friend. Evening, gentlemen. With Palace playing in the Conference League, they could effectively afford to play second 11s in that competition. I expect them to compete for a high position in the league. Well, they might. They might do that. They might
Mm,
will do that. Just a quick one on obviously Forest. Last season, I think everyone was shocked at how Nuno did. I think he had a real style, especially playing away from home. Um, Unfortunately, sort of tailed off towards the end. It was obviously the altercation. I think we have to say with
mm.
Mr. Marinakis at the end of that Leicester game. But how do you think they'll do this season? Because I look at their squad and I'm thinking, right, it's mostly the same sort of players that they've got. Also, the fact they kept Morgan Gibbs White, they have lost Elanga, but they did bring in Dan Ndoye, who tore up the Euros last time. He was fantastic for
Yeah,
Switzerland at the Euros. So I think that's a very, very good replacement. And obviously, you've still got Chris Wood scoring 8 goals, and you've obviously got Taiwo Awoniyi to come off the bench. Um, as well. And you've obviously got Matt Sells, you've got Murillo, you've got Milenkovic as well. They obviously got Aina as well. He signed a new contract as well. Looks like, if rumours are to be believed, they are going to go for Costas Tsimikas at Liverpool. Looks like he could potentially be on the way out. So that's another sort of left back option.
yeah. There is also one
But
other
with them
name.
having Europa League football, how do
Mm.
you think they'll do this season?
It's gonna be tough. It's the first time in Europe for a long, long time. I think they will. I don't think they will make it into the top half of the table this season. I really don't, especially losing players. And Dan on Doy, good signing from Blonga. Question about the transfer fee. It's a bit high priced, but they also have been linked with one player, which is James McAtee from Man City as well. So that looks like that's going to happen now because with after everything, the outcome of of the cast result, the cast tribunal situation. So look like that deal's going to happen for like about £22 million. But like I said, they do look Forest. They sold Danilo for Botafogo for nearly £22 million. Alanga for 55. Roman Sosa has gone to Paramount for 10 million. Lewis O'Brien, Matt Turner have left as well. Matt Turner left as well. So it's interesting how they've kept Morgan Gibbs right. Listen, it's just a question of European experience, how they will compete with the Thursday, in 29 years to compete with Thursday and Sunday's games now going forward. Are they going to be the threat in the Europa League? Maybe, but looking at the other teams that's in there as well, I think Villa and Roma in the shout as well. Don't count out Porto as well with that one. So yeah, it's going to be interesting the situation how Nuno deals with that now, or for what he did in the past at Wolves as well. If he could try to get them close that he did at Wolves, then I wouldn't be surprised to get close to the quarterfinals. But it's a question how they keep their league form going as well, how the things was. So yeah, you are mute.
there, there we go. Yeah, as I was saying, I think I think Forest could be in for a very interesting season. But I don't know. But I don't know. I just think they may just finish top half. Just maybe the cusp of it. Because I think it will be a tough season. The Thursday to Sunday football. I suppose as well, Europa League sometimes played on a Wednesday as well. So we might get that as
Yeah, we
well. But
might do. Yeah,
but no, I think it's a good wee way to sort of finish that wee bit. And then yeah, Michael says West Ham also won the Europa Conference League a few seasons ago as an easier competition to negotiate until the semi-final or final. Yeah, it
yeah,
certainly is. So yeah, Crystal Palace playing in the Europa Conference League. Not in the Forest, or in the Europa League. So yeah, this will rumble on, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, Palace Forest games will be very, very interesting to say the very least.
yeah,
So here we go. The fight for survival. Now, I'll leave this one to you because obviously Leeds are back in the top flight. Burnley are back in the top flight as well. And now Sunderland are as well. Who will we start with? Yeah, but we might as well start with Leeds. Safe to say, this summer was almost a. We almost lost Daniel Farke. It's the safest thing to say.
yeah.
There was obviously rumours about Leeds board wanting to sort of make a change. Now, I'm a little bit concerned because I'm not so sure if they trust him properly, and I worry for him. If you start badly, then I think the Leeds board may act. So, how
Yeah.
are you feeling going into the season?
Look, we've taken this game by game now, and I know Farker with his experience at Norwich, he did have the budget, and they struggled in with the two times he got promoted. I think because in a way we have to be looking at there was one word that we needed was physicality. The players we've had to bring in who are around about over 6 foot, around 6'5", which was so vital. Look, he deserved a proper transfer window in the Premier League, and he's getting that. And I think, to like I said, took a bit of time in the transfer window, but we got a plan of how much we're going to spend. We're not going to spend lavishly like we did on Jorginho Ruta that season, the season where we got relegated. We spent £36 million. We were not going to go for that for any type of player. Only a player that we think is good enough, then yes. But getting Jacob from Udinese for around 50, £70 million because actually he was linked to a move to Newcastle. Newcastle missed out on him as well. And like I said, we knew
Mm.
about his he's sending off in his last game at Udinese, so he's not going to be in the first game on Monday against Everton. Bringing Sebastian Bastian Bono from Leipzig, which is a good cover as well. Gabriel Gudmundsson is a good, solid left back that we needed to replace Junior Firpo. But bringing like Sean Longstaff and Anton Stack was what we needed in the midfield area. Completely, and then getting a good coach with like Lucas Perry for £50.6 million. I think he's got a good throw span, and he's better. His shot stop is a lot more better than Melier. So we're bringing more physicality. We do need a striker because of Bamford wants to leave, and Mateo George is now going back to Spain for Mallorca on loan, and Joffrey, Joe Gerhardt is now on loan back at Hull. We do need another striker, and I know we're still with Rodrigo Muniz from Fulham. That's, with other parts coming in as well. Listen, there's questions about Jack Harrison. He was booed quite a lot this preseason because of what happened the last couple of seasons. He's just, didn't want to stay. He didn't want to stay with the club anyway after he signed a long-term contract. I think he's still got less than 3 years left in his contract. But I think Leeds' business has done a little bit better because it's in the areas where we still needed we need a striker and another wide man, especially wide left winger. I don't know if we're going to go back for Manuel Solomon, but I know El Canus from Leicester has been linked with us. So at least we got
Yeah.
a plan if we do mess up. But we have said we're not going to spend beyond our means if we know what we were going in for. We know we need to meet the budget. As I said, like what Michael just said, we lost out on Paxio, who actually wanted to go to Marseille because they're in the Champions League and his family was already committed to it. We tried it,
Okay.
yeah, but we are going to make at least 2 marquee signings, what we need to do. But I think we're doing a pre-season. We'll stay unbeaten. A lot more better playing in a three-man midfield and a 3-man up front. So I think the 4-3-3 works for us now. It is a change of style for Farke, what he's doing at the moment now. So like I said, it's just we got to get some marquee signings, at least 2. That's what we need. I think we'll be all right. But we've done signings on solid sides that we needed, especially Sean Longstaff, who fits that midfield cover as that defense midfielder. Anton Stack, which is a big, good move as well. So I
Yeah.
think we're investing in the right areas, and Lucas Netmenka come on a free for a 2-year deal, which is actually good value. There's nothing about it if it happens, with his contract. So I think we've done the right thing with that one of how we've gone through our transfer window.
Yeah. I think, look, I look at obviously Melly. I think he's going to probably go at some point, and I can't see him staying on. I think it's
He does have the number
like
one
maybe
shirt at least now, so he has lost
yeah,
the number
yeah,
one shirt. Yeah, it's likely that will probably will be announced later tomorrow or this week. Melia will have the number one shirt. It will be Perry taking over that. So
Burnley, obviously, another team finished on 100 points. My big worry, and I think you know who I'm coming to with this one,
Scott
Scott
Parker,
Parker.
yeah,
Now, Burnley have bought a few good players. They've bought £20 million worth of Leslie Ugochukwu, which I think is a real risk. I know he did well at Southampton. Let's be honest, but
yeah.
he did kind of shine in a really poor Southampton team.
Mm.
Um, they've obviously got in Dubravka, which I think is a really good sign, and they've got Kyle Walker there. But is this squad good enough to challenge in this league? They're away to Tottenham, obviously, the first game of the season. Has Scott Parker, do you think, learned from his ways that he was obviously at Fulham, he was always at Bournemouth? Didn't quite work for him then. Do you think he may have learned his lesson, or do you think it could be a tale of basically lightning striking twice or 3 times?
It could be a bit more than the latter, a little bit, if especially the side he's made. Yes, Jaden Anthony, Marcus Edwards, and Bashir Humphreys signed on a permit deal because they were there at the club from last season. Look, I just think now it's a question if he can't be so defensive in the Premier League. Excuse me, and stay up. He can't, and I think yes, when you had the best defensive record in the championship, it doesn't. You can't establish that in the Premier League. You can't. Not for a promoted team at all. And I think I looked at the stats. The teams that finish with the most 100 points, they usually at least 100 points or so. They usually at least stay up. I think there's only been one team that is, who have the points that stay up. I think it was Southampton and Leicester last season. I don't Leicester last season, along with Ipswich. So if
Yeah,
the two teams have broken the 100 point record, they usually stay up. I don't know about Burnley this season. I really don't. And Michael said that the lost James Trafford, CJ Egan Riley's gone as well, and also Josh Brownhill, which was he decided not to.
that's huge. For
He
me,
decided
for
not to.
me, he's
Yeah,
he's their clicker in midfield. Really, really surprised that they let him go.
yeah, I was very surprised to let him go. The contract was there on the table when we spoke to Dan about it. It was on the table, and he wanted a new challenge. We don't know if he's going to go to Europe. There's been links for a move to Leicester as well. So losing a huge captain who was their top goal scorer last season. So it's huge that they didn't get his contract extended. They only activated his contract extension for 1 year last season. I'm surprised they didn't extend it for longer. So I think that could be a huge missing piece of the juggle for Burnley if they do go down because I don't because Leslie Okogu, I just don't think he's going to be good enough to replace of what Brownhill's stature has been.
Mm, yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting season as well. But Marcus Edwards is a good player. I'm literally looking forward to seeing what he can do as
Yeah.
well.
Oh yeah.
If you think if you think Burnley and Leeds haven't done much business, well, you can only be a bit jealous of what's happening at Weir side, Sunderland. Well, first of all, welcome back to the Premier League, Sunderland. Gone way too long. Safest thing to say. Um, yeah, some of the signings: Adingra, Xhaka. They've obviously got the goalkeeper as well.
Robin Roof.
Masuaku, who
Yeah.
Masuaku, I'm like, that's an interesting one. They're even trying to get Lloyd Kelly
Yeah.
from Juventus, which is quite interesting to say the very, very least. Um, brought in Mark. I'm going to butcher this name.
Matt Grew.
Guiu.
Yeah, you got it. No, you got it right. Yeah.
Yeah, they got him as well. Now, I asked the question: can any of the three stay up? Sunderland are given a real, real good go in the transfer window, aren't they?
They are, and I think it's more better than the other promoted teams in the past who have done, such as Ipswich Town. I think Ipswich Town bought a lot of players that were going to go back into the Championship next this season.
Yeah,
Sunderland have done the opposite because they know they will get a good value on those players, a good resale value on those players, regardless what happens to them. I know that there's been Daniel's he's been linked to a move away as well recently, but the players have bought like Habit Diarra, Edsel Lefebvre on a permanent deal, you know, Tabali from Bruges that I told you about. We were discussing like, why did Liverpool not go for him? He suited your style, especially with his scored a brace against Atalanta. Adingra, I think he's going to get more of a chance as well. So they've upgraded. They've done some huge huge signings quite significantly, and I think they've done the opposite of what promoted teams should do. Is we'll just get players that could be back for the championship next season to go again. No, Sunderland have gone the opposite. They want to go for it and give it a go. Listen, I think I think I just think, yeah, getting
hello, Ant.
hello and yeah, I think getting Shaka is a big good move for the experience as well that they're going to need, for them to survive this season. And I think you
Mm,
gotta give Sunderland credit. You gotta give them credit because they
yeah,
were not going to mess about in this transfer. They said we're not messing about this transfer window because I think they would like I think the squad at the time was around about under 5 million, 10 million pounds. That squad was assembled before they signed
yeah.
so many players. That squad is now, let's say, a lower tier, mid table, lower tier Premier League team of the players that they get in.
Mm. Sunderland did a good business in getting over 30 million for Bellingham to Dortmund plus add-ons. Yep, absolutely. They could cost us charity work. And I know that you were at the game against Sheffield Wednesday, and I know that Bayes got booed when he scored. I've never seen that before. Um,
Mm,
but yeah, in terms of sort of other teams that could be dragged into the bottom three, um, let's start with Brentford. It has been a season where, or sorry, a summer where they have lost anybody you could name. Mark Flecken's gone. Um, I would say who else has gone? Ben Mee has been released.
yeah,
Norgard's gone to Arsenal. And Burmo's gone to Manchester United. Looks like Vissa might be going very soon as well. They have got Kelleher. They brought in Jordan Henderson. Keith Andrews, very experienced Premier League player, but not a manager. Um, and then you look at Wolves, another team. Thomas Frank as well. Yeah, thank you, Ant. You look at Wolves. They've lost Ain't Nuri. They've
yeah.
lost Cunha. Could those two get dragged into the bottom three?
There's a possibility it's more likely they will do. I think you may count that name in another team in there, probably West Ham as well, because
Mm,
I think the situation with those teams, particularly Brentford, to go left field again get Keith Andrews, who's unexperienced, who's never this is his first managerial job, and I think he's the first name who's will be favorite to get sacked to if they don't start well. Listen, he did have a good experience under the Republic Island national team under Stephen Kenny as well. And yeah, his only experience was back with sort of Carl Robson, and he was there briefly under Chris Wilder last season before. So it's a question. It's questionable. It's questionable if he can keep them up, especially. I just yeah. If I was Brentford, I would have gone for Kieran McKenna because that would have said you're getting someone who will keep it into and they've had a bit of a tough pre-season as well. Actually, I'm not going to lie to you. They've had a bit of a mixture. I just worry about them at the moment to go back with Brentford. I just feel that if they don't get points on the board that in the first 4, 5, 6 games, there's question marks.
yeah, they did so well to finish 10th last season. They were fantastic
They
last
did.
season. It's just, I do fear for them. I like how you mentioned West Ham as well. Graham Potter, I thought that was going to be a good appointment, but it seems to have been a bit hit and miss almost.
It is a hit and miss at the moment, and he's a sticking point. Do you know who's the director of football now?
Um, no, I had no idea.
Dave Sullivan, who's the
Oh,
old that and there's a problem that Dave Sullivan has because he's now the director of football, and I think because he's now in charge of everything now. They've listen signing Callum Wilson on a 2-year deal. I don't, can he ship in the goals at the age of 33, especially for a team like West Ham? Losing Mohamed Kudus to Spurs, you sign Matt Emerson from Leicester for £20 million. Young Claire Tabolo deciding for a big money fee for £32 million, and I got Kyle Walker Peters. But because of the situation of Wolves now, direct football, they had a one director of football last season before in the Morris, and then he gone, and they had no director of football since then. And the way they finished last season
mm,
was dire, was really dire. And I think you just worry about that at the moment of if they're able to stay up this season. And listen, the players that they brought in last season, I think some of them were not good enough. I think listen, Somerville had a tough season, especially he didn't have a lot. He only played like 19 games in all last season in the Premier League, and compared to when he was season was Leeds. Nicholas Fruitcreek, he's got to prove himself, after his injuries. But there's a lot of issues that West Ham needs to be dealing with, and
yeah.
I think this is going to be downfall because of them playing at the London Stadium. It's now frustration for the West Ham fans of the lack of where the ambition is now.
Mm. And Fulham and Everton. I mean, obviously, Everton are at a new ground this season. The Hill Dickinson Stadium is still a weird name, but I'm going to say something here, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but I feel Everton might do a madness this season.
Well, it's questionable because they still need to get a lot of signings, don't they? And I think, yeah, the
Mm.
signing Jack Grealish on loan, which is going to be a huge deal, which is going to be a huge deal on
Yeah, it's a
loan.
great deal.
Yeah, but I think Moyes, especially because they need stability now, especially that it's the first season in a new stadium. I think this is what David Moyes is what is brought back in to just stabilize the club, to get them playing again, and to win over the fans and actually do well. And they signed King Drewsbury Hall, they signed Mark Tavares on the deal, they signed Adam Azu from Bayern Munich, Carlos Alcaraz on a permanent deal now after he was on loan. It's Tiano
Yeah.
Barry's going to be interested in what the interesting point. How is he going to start well? So I
Mm.
think losing Calvert Lewin and Abba Decore, yeah, they're going to be huge big misses for them. But to keep Jared Brantford was vital because that was the vital thing because everyone thought he was going to leave this summer. But give credit for what to keep him. Give credit for Everton to keep it in for another season for another couple more, for 5 more years. But like I said, first game against Leeds, it's going to be tough for them, and I think they need. I think the squad is not fully balanced there yet.
Yeah, I think KDH is a fantastic signing for them.
Yeah,
He'll do really really well there. Obviously getting Jack Grealish is fantastic as well. Fulham, I don't really worry for them. I think it's more about the fact that they've hardly really done anything. They've obviously been linked with that winger, Shakhtar, name I can't even remember at
Kevin.
the moment. Kevin, that's right.
That's his name's
Um,
Kevin. His over name is just Kevin. So
I can just now think of the Home Alone
yeah.
mother.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
I
can
feel, I feel
all.
like I feel like that there's gonna be that meme at the Simon that video with that one. Yeah,
I think so. I think so as well. But yeah, I think look, I think Fulham's biggest thing they did all summer was to keep Marco Silva. I mean, it was absolutely huge.
it's huge, but I think he must be frustrated of the lack of signings. I've only made one signing for Benjamin
Yeah.
Lencon from Montpellier. I think at the moment there is the squad. I think the squad,
Mm.
especially last season, because now with
I'm saying they've been like with Mavadidi.
yeah, then they went quiet, and I think Mavrody's been linked again. So with them, I think as well. But it's just because of the letting Carlos Vinicius got released along with Willian. Kenny Tete signed a new contract, but it's just that in a minute. I think they do need some investment going in that squad for them because they were close to getting to the Euro last season. I think that if they lose Rodrigo Muniz and to us, I think they're gonna have to sign a replacement because that's gonna be huge for
Yeah.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. It's going to be very very interesting. Apparently, we want 30 million, so can't see it. Well, there we go. Right, we are come to the part of the show where I leave you in the capable hands of Mr. Edwards Levy because he is going to give his Premier League table predictions. So take it away, Mr. Edwards Levy.
So 20th place, I have gone for Burnley, which is not surprising. 19th place, I put Wolves in there.
Wolves.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. 18th, I think Brentford will be gone. I think if it's between Brentford and one of our promoted teams, I think they're gonna lose that fight because of the strength of the signings that the other teams have made around them.
Yeah.
17th, I will say Sunderland. I think Sunderland will survive. I think they will do. It wouldn't be surprised at all because the money they spent, I think they're going to give a huge go of fighting against the relegation routes that we're fighting for. 16th, I've gone for myself, Leeds. I think we'll set in stone to just establish ourselves again on the Farker and see how it goes if we start well. 15th place, I put West Ham in 15th place. 14th, I've gone for Fulham. 13th, Everton. 12th, Crystal Palace. 11th,
When are they never 12th?
yeah, I know. That's why I've decided to keep it that way. 11th, Notts Forest. 10th,
Oh,
Bournemouth.
okay.
Yeah, I think Bournemouth will still finish in the top half, no matter what. I think Bournemouth are fine.
Right, okay.
Ninth place, Manchester United.
Yeah, I had them eighth. Um, But I think, as I said of when we were discussing them, if they get a goalkeeper and a midfielder, I think they go up a bit.
Yeah. Eighth, I put Brighton in there. I think they will finish it in the same place again.
Yeah.
Seventh, I'm going for Spurs. I think Spurs will have a better more season with that one. I really do. Sixth place, Newcastle. They will miss out again in Champions League. I just feel like they will do. I think they will miss out the Champions League this time. Fifth, Aston Villa. I think Emery's going to have the better season than out of Howard as well. So I'm going to my top four. So fourth, Chelsea.
Hmm.
Third, Manchester City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Second, Arsenal. And first place, I think it's you're gonna do it again, mate. It's gonna be Liverpool.
See, that's interesting. We sort of differentiate between second and third. I've got City second and Arsenal third. Um, I put a fiver on Forest getting relegated. Couldn't be, could not write it.
Mm,
And I just trying to think what else you said. We've got the same top seven.
yeah,
Obviously, you've got Arsenal second, City third. I've got City second, Arsenal third.
yeah,
Um, eighth, you had Brighton. I've got Man United, Brighton, Forest,
mm,
Everton, Bournemouth, Palace. Oh yeah, I've got Palace 13th for some reason. Palace, and then Fulham, West Ham, Wolves, Sunderland, and then I've got Brentford, Leeds, and Burnley. So yeah, that's actually quite interesting that we've got almost the exact same table, but just obviously in different positions. Obviously, you've got Wolves to go down,
yeah,
um, and obviously you've got Leeds and Sunderland to survive. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
mhm,
Are Forest going to make it 35 years without a trophy this season? Yeah, I think so.
yeah,
I think so. I think so. As well. Um, I mean, I was going to do sort of look ahead to obviously the weekend fixtures. Let's do something different. Let's do something different to finish the show. So
sure,
I'm going to ask you. Can ask you. We'll discuss this, and guys in the chat as well. Get this in the comments as well. So golden boot. Who's going to get the golden boot? For me, I think it's between three players, and I'm going to go. I think if Liverpool win the league, I think Salah wins it. I think if Arsenal win the league, I think it's Gyokores. I think if City win it, it'll be Holland. It'll be one of those three.
yeah,
But my gut feeling says we're going to win the league. I'm going to go Mo Salah.
yeah. I can't look beyond Salah if Liverpool wins the league. Yeah, Salah for Golden Boot.
Player of the season. I mean, again, this could easily be Mo Salah, but I'm
I,
going to go something different. I'm going to go Omar Marmoush
no,
because
I
I
can't.
just have a feeling he's going to have a heck of a season.
Yeah, I
And I
want to
just
say that
look
as
at
well.
him.
But I think
I just
Salah again, I just can't look beyond Salah. I just can't. I think the guy is yeah, he's unstoppable. I just think Salah will become player of the season.
Salah player of the season.
Yeah,
Young player of the season. Wow, this is a tough one. I mean, I look at. I mean, Cherky is in this. It's
yeah,
potentially in
he's in
this.
this discussion. Yeah,
He's in this discussion. I think Lewis Skelly's in this discussion. I think Ethan Nwaneri is in this discussion as well. Also, Ryan Gravenberch won it last season. I don't know if he can win it again this
no, he can't
season.
now.
Uh,
No.
no, no. So, um, but I'm going to go for a man who is at Chelsea. I think he might play a lot. I'm going to go for that Estabio.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think Jerky. I think Jerky will. Sorry, Shakiri could be that one. I think he will be the young player of the season, no doubt.
Okay. Signing of the season.
That's a good question. Okay.
I think this guy is going to score a lot of goals.
So do
I'm
I.
going to go Joe Pedro.
I was thinking, I would have thought that. I think, yeah, I think Gyokores could be if he starts well against the goals. I think he'd be decided to season that Arsenal really needed. But even though it's tight, but it will be that if they get if the tight race is closer, I think he will be decided this
Mm.
season.
Flop of the season.
Ooh, yeah, that yeah.
Um, that's really tough. That's
It
really
is
tough.
tough, yeah.
Um, I mean, Ant says Isaac to Liverpool will be the sign of the season if it happens. I kind of agree with him. Um, flop of the season. I do worry for Manchester United.
Yeah.
Um, so it could be either one of Cunha
That's
and
why I was
Dermo.
thinking Mo Cunha, yeah, because that's like what
Mm,
I'd say. He's a Mike type killing machine, so it could be the yeah.
yeah. Um, who else could you say? I mean, Kudus at Spurs. I mean, there's already been sort of question marks over sort of Kudus
There's
at
questions.
Spurs.
I think he's part. I think he'd be part of that list. Yeah, it's between
Mm,
Cunha and Kudus. Yeah, I just yeah.
but then again, something tells me maybe Ukachukwu. I think 20 million
Ugochukwu,
pounds is a
yeah, that's
huge
what I think.
amount for Burnley.
That's in that top three. It is. I think. I think Kudus will be more protected under Thomas Frank, but the other two you question it because it's two managers that are under pressure.
Yeah, I think so as well. So you who are you going with? I'm going with Ukachukwu.
Yeah, I'm going that way as well. Actually, I think yeah, I do question about that price move. Yeah, that money move to £23 million. Yeah,
Yeah, Kyle Walker will be awful business like Real Ferdinand at QPR. Yeah,
that's another good
I've
show
got a
as
funny
well.
feeling that
Yeah,
that's a very good shout, and very good shout. First manager to be sacked,
Keith Andrews.
Keith Andrews.
Mm. Go on. If you have to say it, say it. It's fine because we know what is you know.
Yeah, I've got two in my head, and the two I'm thinking are Daniel Farker or
Yeah,
Scott Parker, and I'm going to go along with that. I think Daniel Farker will be the first manager to be sacked. I just think of the fact that you guys have had a summer where it looked like he was going to go. You were obviously looking at other.
it was a small window. Wasn't that huge? It was about a small window, about
Hmm,
3 weeks after the season ended. Okay, it wasn't a big thing, and like people saying, all right. I think a lot of people need to understand that it wasn't just the big, it wasn't like a big six, like a big. Yes, I know. I had to these big Jerry sausage, yeah, but it wasn't like a big part of the wind of the summer. It was just probably that week or two after the promotion party was done. That's what we need, So
yeah,
listen, everyone needs to just let's see how it goes to at least October. That's all I said to people. Let's see how it goes to October. Let's see where Lee's are, and let's see if Fagger's not good enough, we will get rid of him. But like for now, we're
but
not. Yeah.
I do think though if Burnley starts slowly with Scott Parker, I could easily see Burnley getting rid of Scott Parker.
Mm.
Um, but then again, Burnley really aren't a sacking club. Mm. Keith Andrews, I can see. I mean, it ain't going to be Arne Slot. It's not going to be Pep Guardiola. It's not going to be
Of course not. Listen, but
Arteta.
listen,
It's not
I
going to
think
be
listen, but the
Maresca.
yeah, listen, but the 49ers, in a way, are not going to do knee jerk reaction of, just, yes, they were quiet a little bit, but I think there was reasons because no one knew what was going to happen, okay? And I think there was a lot of question. But look, I think just give Farker the chance to let's see how he does in the first 6 games. And if things go shit, then
Mm.
we'll question it. But I think I'm not defending him because I can't defend him because I know there was questions about him. But I have to, but
Yeah.
for the sake of everyone, give him a chance because he's not because he's spent a little bit more money than he ever did in his 2 promotions at Norwich. And I think these people need to understand that this was his first big transfer outlay he's ever done in his career. So everyone needs to understand that. I'm not defending him. He has his flaws, like he did the last 2 seasons, but I'm giving him a good chance for this just to see how it goes the first 6 games. That's all it is.
Yeah, and also says, also joking aside, I wouldn't be surprised if Nuno gets sacked by Maranaka's mad attitude. Yeah, quite possibly. Quite
Mm,
possibly. Okay, well, why don't we do something fun? Why don't
go
we
on
do
then.
something fun? Let's try and predict the cups. So the domestic cups. League Cup, who are you going for? For me, I think Chelsea have got that in the bag because they've got a big squad. I think they'll be able to rotate pretty heavily, and I
Do
think
you
they
know
might get
what?
over their finals hoodoo, in my opinion.
Yeah. I would have thought that, but the team that is under pressure needs to win something. Is probably because they got no European competitions. Is Manchester United.
Manchester United, okay.
They have to prove something
FA
now. Yeah.
FA Cup,
Ooh. I think I think Liverpool could. I think Liverpool could.
Liverpool.
Yeah, I think they could this time. I think because of the change of ethos, you went for 4 competitions last season. I think you do the same. I think you get further the FA Cup.
Hmm. Villa in the FA Cup, Suzanne. That's a good show, actually. Villa could
Mm.
easily do pretty well. Um, I can't see past Man City for that, unfortunately.
No,
I
you
think
can't. Well,
they might win that. Um, Champions League.
mm,
Do we think an English team's winning it?
I don't think so. No,
No, I don't either.
I can't look beyond
Um,
PSG at this moment. At this moment in time, because I don't the question with Real
mm,
Madrid how they come out, when they start the season because it's under Xavi Alonso with a new formate with a new style of formation and stuff, and then some players have been out injured as well. Yeah, not Arsenal. Yeah, not Arsenal.
Definitely not.
I think it's between PSG and even particularly, even though they missed out to get to the final last season. It's probably Barcelona, despite what's going on. I think they're the only 2 teams I can't look beyond at the moment.
Yeah, I think as much as we'd love it to be Liverpool, as much as we'd love it to be Liverpool, I will go for. I was thinking Barcelona actually. I was
Yeah,
thinking Barcelona.
I think this is Lamal's time now to more write him stay right in the history books. It's his time, and especially
Yeah,
if you get Rashford playing well, then I think there is.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think it could be that. I think it could be definitely that. As well, we have as much chance as Arsenal. We haven't been in it for 8 years. Hello, Andrew. Big up Douglas in chat. Fabrizio just said that Dazen about
Deserve.
LFC centre back targets, and he predicts we will sign Leone, the 6'5" Italian centre back. I reckon Leone this summer, Guehi on a pre-contract in January. There you
Yeah.
go. Europa League.
Mm.
Um, do you know what? They've got the manager. He knows what to do in the Europa League. I'm going to go Aston
Aston Villa.
Villa.
Yeah, can't look beyond it. I can't really look beyond that at Villa at the moment. I really can't.
I think the fact they've got Emery, Roma might be a shout actually.
Roma's a good
Um,
shout. Getting even Ferguson, is that going to be interesting with that one? Yeah.
Palace. Well, and it certainly won't be Forest. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they might do well, but yeah, I don't think so. Conference League. I
Can't look.
don't even know who's in that.
Well, yeah, it's still finalized. We know Palace is now in there, so well, depending if they get through to the group to the league's phase. So,
Well,
um,
Glasner won the Europa League, didn't he? With
yes,
Frankfurt.
yeah, he did. I wouldn't be surprised
No,
to
I'm
look beyond. I wouldn't look beyond Palace actually at this moment because
Yeah,
it depends who loses in the um, Europa League stages in the early stages. So yeah, I just can't look beyond Palace. I think Strasbourg could be the interesting point on the Liam Rosini as well. Actually, the way they go in. So
yeah, yeah. Well, now we are at the point where we are going to end the show with a look at the opening fixtures. Um, so we'll start with Friday night, Liverpool Bournemouth. I think if you're Bournemouth, I think the last place you want to start the season
mm,
is a trip to the champions. And as well, obviously Milos Kerkez is playing against his former club on that day as
yeah,
well. Um, do you think it could take a bit of time for Bournemouth to get started this
I
season?
think it will. I think it will do, especially if you're losing another player, another big player is going to another big club. Yeah, I think it's going to take time.
I mean, well, I was going to, I will get your predictions because I'm obviously going to do a predictions video with the Prem Prediction Show. Anyway, but yeah, basically what I'll do is I'll do my predictions. I'll put them side by side with yours,
Yeah,
and we'll see who gets sort of the closest. So, what's your prediction for Liverpool Bournemouth?
I think this is an easy win for Liverpool 3-0.
3-0.
Yeah.
Moving to Saturday, 12:30 kickoff. Aston Villa Newcastle United. Now, I've got to say, I look at this game. I think Villa beat them 4-1 last season.
They
I think
did.
it was a
Yeah,
real tanking. I think they got
yeah.
did Newcastle. Um,
Yeah, I just see a two. I think it's gonna be a 2-0 win for Villa. I just can't see Newcastle. Without Isaac, who's gonna be the lead strike up front, and that's gonna be the issue.
mm, yeah. Um, you can't really rely on that Osula, can't you?
No, Sula's too young at the moment, and he's still got a lot
Yeah.
of talent. He's got a lot of development he needs to do to reach potential.
Whoever goes up front could be very, very interesting. I don't think it'll be Joe Linton anymore because Joe Linton has proven to be a real
It'll be a false
rock in that
nine, either
midfield.
Anthony Gordon, yeah, probably Al
Mm.
Langa. He'd be one of those two.
Or Alanga, yeah. Or Harvey Barnes, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you're going 2-0 Villa.
yeah, 2-0 Villa, yeah.
2-0 Villa. Brighton Fulham. Obviously, Fulham haven't done much. Brighton have done a bit of business. Um, and it will be very interesting to see who sort of starts as striker. Will Danny Welbeck be fit? Will they have the young Greek lad that
I
they've
think they
bought as
will
well?
probably start Welbeck to start off with, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, Jared Pedro gone, so it'll give Welbeck a much better chance of getting goals for him. How do you see this one going?
It'll be a close game, but I think Brighton will edge it just 1-0 because I think Fulham, if Rodrigo's not playing, then I think there's questions about will he go?
Hmm. Do you think Raul Jimenez could fill the void, or
Maybe, but I think Jimenez is not. He's getting not getting younger, so
hmm. What a game this is going to be at the stadium? Like Sunderland against West Ham.
ooh,
If I'm Sunderland, I'm looking at that game thinking if we get something out of that game, first game of the season,
yeah, yeah,
that could be a very interesting game. Like West Ham are a good side under Graham Potter. We all know that. They've got marauding fullbacks now, and obviously Adam Ambasaka, who I think is going to be a bit of a a bit of a find this season at that right back, especially with obviously Vladimir Sufal
yeah.
going. Still got Souček. Um, but I just look at Sunderland and I look at their side and
The
you know,
atmosphere will be electric. I can guarantee you that when I went there
hmm
earlier in the New Year's Day for the championship game against to meet with Michael against the championship game against Sheffield United, that atmosphere will be electric this time. I think you will see a surprise, a 2-1 win for Southampton. I just don't. I think that first win will be electric for that city.
Southampton.
No, sorry, Sunderland. Why am I thinking Southampton? I was watching the because I watched Southampton. They should have lost the bloody Wrexham. I'm not gonna lie to you, but no, Sunderland. No, I know. That's my first mistake with a club that starts with S. No, I'm going for Sunderland to win 2-1. Actually,
Michael will never forgive you for saying Southampton.
Michael, I apologize. It just slipped out my tongue by accident. Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, absolutely. Who's coverage playing over the weekend if they got promoted last season? Trust you to say that.
No
Yeah, they would
him,
have been
yeah,
playing West Ham. They would have been playing West Ham. Tottenham Burnley.
Mm,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like Burnley to be honest.
yeah. I think Burnley will be digging a hole down more than 6 feet under this weekend. I just don't see. I think it'll be a 3-0 win for Spurs. I think they're a little bit more better now. And I know they get the players that are brought in, and I know without Son, I still think they're a bit of a threat up front.
And says 4-0 Tottenham. It could be anything to be honest with you. We've got a 5:30 game on Saturday. Wolves against Manchester City. Now, in the past, City have struggled at Molineux.
Yeah.
Um, but look, Vitor Pereira did a fantastic job to sort of steady the ship at Wolves last season. Because let's be honest, Gary O'Neill was going nowhere with that team. Safe to
No.
say. Um, Obviously, Nuri going back to Molineux, which you would expect him to probably get a good reception. I would think. Anyway, I don't think there's any sort of malice between
No, hope
Eight
no.
Nuri and Eight Nuri and Wolves. But how do you see this? How do you see this one going?
I think City will be easy comfortable. I think they'll win it just 2-0. Would it be a better safe bet? I think just to start off after what happened last season, I think it'll be 2-0 win for Man City.
Yeah, we'll move on to the Sunday games and two 2 o'clock games. Chelsea Crystal Palace, a London derby to
Oh
begin the season. Look, I think Chelsea might be a bit. They might still take a bit of time to gel. Actually, they might
yes.
still take a wee bit of time to gel. But Palace, it'll make it difficult for Chelsea. It'll make it difficult. How do you see that one going?
I think this is gonna be my first score draw, actually. This is gonna be a 2-2 between these two teams, actually.
Funnily enough, answer 2-2 as well.
Mm.
I think you could be right. Nottingham Forest Brentford.
I think Nottingham Forest will come away just about a lot more comfortably because we don't know how Brentford's going to be lining up this weekend, especially under Keith Andrews in his first game. I think Forest will win this, but it'll be a small 1-0.
1-0. I think Ant's gone 2-2 again for that one.
Yeah,
Um, Obviously, I'll be looking at Brentford's results this season with a real key eye because obviously they got our former goalkeeper, Queven Kelleher. So yeah, obviously good luck to him. Oh no, Ant's gone 3-1 Brentford. There you
yeah.
go. What a game on Super Sunday. Manchester United against Arsenal.
Oh,
I've got to
it,
say, this
yeah.
has draw written all over it for
It
me.
does. I say the same thing as well. It's a draw all over this with these two teams.
Yeah. What are you going for?
I'm going for at least a 1-1 draw between both
1-1
teams.
draw.
Yeah.
And then finally, we have Monday the 18th of August. So we will decide what day we sort of do this on. Um, no, these games are always brought up to be exciting. Says that,
Hey,
yeah,
I need to watch that Leeds game. That's more important for me than anything else. So yeah,
yeah, Leeds against Everton. First match back on the top flight. How do you see it going?
this is going to be probably one of these closest games, especially with these two teams are trying to rebuild completely. I think we will see something. You know, how does Leeds react in the first 15 minutes, putting pressure against Everton, and how does Everton respond? And I think Farka needs to be more adaptable, like I said. So, as I
Mm.
said, I think this is going to be a close game. Which sexy Jack and Grealish or Harrison?
Oh, yeah, that's a point because obviously Jack Harrison will be playing this against his former club.
He will be on the bench. Well, yeah, yeah, I
Mm.
know.
Yeah, you
Harrison will
didn't
be on the
think about that
bench.
one, did you?
Yeah. I
Didn't
was
think
thinking,
about that one.
yeah, which sexy Jack? Because Grealish. Yeah, no surprise though. Oh yeah, no surprise. Yeah,
Yeah, you've got to back your boys, though, surely.
I'm gonna back my boys. Listen, I know I'm always gonna back my boys. I think we'll be all right. It's gonna be a tough game, but I think we can edge it. I'll say 2-1 to us. Actually, yeah,
2-1.
yeah,
2-1. So as we were saying, obviously with games being on a Monday, we're probably going to be doing on a Tuesday probably.
yeah.
Um,
And
obviously I that,
I don't give a damn about his calves. I really don't give a damn about Jack Grease's calf. What the fuck, man?
but yeah, what we'll do is we'll like go through a wee schedule. And what we'll do is like look at the fixtures and think, right, is there a game on a Monday? Is there a game on a Friday? Sorry, if there's a game on a Monday, then we do it on a Tuesday. If there's no game on a Monday, then we do it on a Monday.
Yeah,
Um, so I think looking at the fixtures actually coming up, obviously there's the 18th of August. That's obviously your game against Leverton. We've got Newcastle on the next again Monday.
yeah.
Um, but there's no Monday games the following week, so that'll be all right.
It'll be all
So,
right
well,
because I think
actually,
it's the international break, so that will be a good timing with that one. Actually,
mm, yeah, I think so.
yeah. Coming to think of it now, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, actually, there's a few more Friday games this season as
There's a
well.
few more
So,
Friday games this season, yeah, that is compared
mm,
to last season. So
so that's what we'll do. Anyway, but that is the end of the show. Big thank you to everyone who's watched. A big thank you to everyone who's obviously liked and obviously shared this pod. Um, not every episode will be obviously nearly 2 hours. Let me just put it that way.
no, no.
There'll be
As
a
a
lot.
season preview, this was longer, but hopefully it's going to be at
Aye.
least an hour an hour and a quarter going
I would say
forward.
an hour, yeah. I think an hour is probably good. As well. We'll also have a guest for next week. Now, I will be going through my guests, and I'm pretty sure you will be as well. We'll try and get a guest on next week
Yeah,
to do it, and yes, it will be probably Tuesday as well. So yeah, if you look out for Monday and you say the 20 podcast is not there, then obviously it will be on the Tuesday. So I think
absolutely.
we'll do that. But Carl, thank you very much for joining me this evening. Um, and yeah, just tell the people where they can find you because obviously it's been broadcasted on both channels.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Doug. You can find me on the Total Levy and Home Football Podcast channel here on YouTube. I am back on this weekend for the new season of the Saturday show here at 11 a.m. and also be back here this Sunday as well for the second game of the week in the second game of the season in the new EFL Championship as well at 8 o'clock on Sunday night as well. So we should have Ant and Reese on as well as along with myself and Michael this weekend. So but yeah, I'm looking forward. As I said, please subscribe and hit the subscribe button. I am now about up after over 105 subscribers now. I want to keep growing that as well. So yeah, please appreciate that as well, please.
Yeah, please go check him out. And as I said, it is being broadcast on this channel and on obviously Carl's channel as well. I will leave Carl's details in the description box down below as well. But yeah, enjoy this. There will be many more across the season. As I said, there won't be quite as long as this one. But I thought obviously with a season preview, I thought it'd be easier to do this one very long. Anyway, but please do give a like on both my stream and the Carl stream, and also please do hit that subscribe button on this channel and obviously on the Totally Levy Horne Football Pod as well. But the Premier League is back. The Premier League is back. Let's enjoy it. Enjoy the football. Good luck to all your teams, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye for now.